The most dangerous moment in your life isn't when someone breaks you. It's when you finally stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix. It's not when they walk away from you. It's when you stop chasing the door they keep slamming in your face. You've spent years auditioning for a part that was never written for you. And somewhere deep inside, you've always known the truth. If you've ever felt like you're screaming underwater while everyone around you keeps swimming, tap that subscribe button and let me explain why the harder you've been fighting for respect, the further it's been slipping through your fingers. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you walked away from a conversation and felt fully seen? Not tolerated, not heard out of politeness, actually seen. If you have to think hard about it, that's your answer. That's the proof that something has been off for a long time. And it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because you've been pouring yourself into containers that were never built to hold you. You've explained yourself 1,000 times. You've softened your voice so it wouldn't be called too much. You've laughed off comments that cut you in half. You've sent the long text trying to clear up the misunderstanding while they sent back 2 cold words. And every single time, you walked away feeling smaller. Not because you were wrong, but because you kept handing them the pen to write your story. Here's the brutal truth. The people who require you to prove your worth will never believe the proof. You could climb mountains for them. You could rearrange your entire life for them. You could become exactly who they say they want, and they will still find one more reason to withhold what you've been begging for. Because the begging itself is the problem. The asking is what tells them you doubt your own value. And once they smell that doubt, the game is already over. Have you been begging for crumbs at tables where you should have been the meal? Drop a yes in the comments and subscribe if this just shifted something inside you. Carl Jung said one of the most haunting things ever written about being human. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Read that again slowly. Every time you wonder why the same people keep disrespecting you, why the same patterns keep happening, why no matter where you go you keep ending up in rooms that don't honor you, that's the unconscious driving. That's the wound holding the wheel. Somewhere inside you, there is a child who learned that love had to be earned, that attention had to be performed for, that belonging was conditional. That child built a whole personality around being good, being helpful, being easy, being whatever the room needed. And that child is still running your relationships today, even though you're a full-grown adult who deserves to be loved without performing for it. You can't outthink this pattern. You can't read your way out of it. You can only feel your way through it. Because the only way the chase ends is when the wound inside you finally believes it doesn't have to chase anymore. And that belief doesn't come from logic. It comes from one quiet morning when you wake up and feel, for the first time in your life, that you are enough without their nod, their text, their approval, their choice. Are you tired of waking up every day with the same heaviness you can't even name? Subscribe and hit the bell if you want more truths that actually reach the part of you nobody else has been talking to. Let me show you something most people miss. Respect is not loud. Respect is not demanded. Respect is not earned through speeches or shown through arguments. Respect is given, freely and quietly, to people who carry themselves like they don't need it. That's it. That's the whole game. The people who get the most respect in this world are the ones who would still be perfectly fine if no one ever gave it to them. Think about the people in your life you respect the most. I bet none of them ever sat you down and explained why they deserved it. I bet they never argued for their worth. I bet they never fought to be taken seriously. They just lived. They just moved. They just existed in their own truth so completely that you couldn't help but adjust to it. That's the energy. That's the frequency. And it has nothing to do with being aggressive or cold or distant. It has everything to do with being so deeply at home in yourself that no one else's opinion can shake the foundation. Now compare that to the version of you that's been showing up lately.
The one that explains too much. The one that apologizes for taking up space.
The one that asks if you're being too sensitive when someone hurts you. The one that says sorry for things that didn't need a sorry. Every one of those small moments is teaching the world how to treat you. And the world is a fast learner. It will treat you exactly the way you treat yourself. No more, no less. Does this sound like someone you used to be? Or maybe someone you still are when no one is looking? Share this video with them and subscribe for more truths nobody else is brave enough to say out loud. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for a lot of people. You have to stop blaming them. Not because they didn't do wrong. They probably did. Not because they don't deserve consequences. They probably do. But because as long as you're focused on what they did to you, you're still giving them the steering wheel of your life. You're still letting their behavior decide your peace. You're still trapped in the story of them when the only story that can save you is the story of you coming back home to yourself. The disrespect you've experienced was never about you. Let me say that again. The disrespect you've experienced was never about your worth. It was about their capacity. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. If they live in shallow water, that's all they have to offer you, no matter how deep your ocean is. You've been trying to teach mermaids to people who are afraid of getting their feet wet. Stop. Just stop. Save yourself instead. Because here's what happens when you stop trying to fix them, change them, convince them, or wake them up. You finally have energy left for your own life. You finally have hours back in your day that used to be spent rehearsing conversations in your head. You finally have space in your nervous system to feel something other than the dull ache of being misunderstood. And in that space, something miraculous starts to happen. You start to remember who you were before all of this began. Did that hit home for you? Let me know in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this conversation, because we're just getting started. There's a quiet kind of grief that comes with this work. Nobody talks about it. The grief of realizing that some people in your life were never going to love you the way you deserved, no matter how long you waited. The grief of accepting that the apology you needed is probably never coming. The grief of letting go of the version of them that only ever lived in your hopes. This grief is real. It deserves to be felt. Don't rush past it. But on the other side of that grief is something powerful. It's the moment you realize that your healing was never going to come from them. It was never going to come from the apology, the acknowledgement, the changed behavior, the "I'm sorry I treated you like that." Your healing was always going to come from you. From the moment you decided you were finally worth more than the breadcrumbs they kept handing you. From the moment you chose yourself for the first time without asking anyone's permission to do it. And once you make that choice, something shifts in the air around you. People can sense it. The ones who used to take you for granted suddenly notice. The ones who used to interrupt you suddenly listen. The ones who used to disappear suddenly reach back out. Not because they've changed. They haven't. But because your energy is no longer feeding theirs. You've removed yourself from the dynamic, and the dynamic can't survive without you giving it your life force. Watch how fast they show up the moment you stop performing for their attention. Has this ever happened to you, where someone only valued you after you stopped chasing? Drop a yes in the comments, and subscribe to join thousands of people finally seeing the pattern. Now let's talk about what to actually do with all of this. Because awareness without action is just another way to suffer beautifully. The first thing you have to do is the hardest thing. You have to start disappointing people. You have to start being the kind of person who says no without a paragraph attached. The kind of person who leaves the conversation when it stops feeling right. The kind of person who doesn't pick up the phone every time it rings. The kind of person who lets the text sit until you actually have the energy to respond. This will feel wrong at first. It will feel selfish. It will feel like you're becoming a bad person. That feeling is just your old programming dying. Let it die.
Because the version of you that was a good person to everyone except yourself was never sustainable. That version of you was always going to burn out.
That version of you was always going to end up exhausted, resentful, and quietly furious at a world that took everything you offered without ever pausing to ask if you were okay. The new version of you is allowed to be a little harder to reach, a little harder to please, a little harder to access. Not because you've become cold, but because you've finally become valuable to yourself. And things that are valuable have to be protected. Your time is valuable. Your peace is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Stop handing them out like flyers on a street corner. Start treating them like the rare resources they actually are. Do you recognize this pattern of giving until there's nothing left of you? Subscribe now and tell me your story below, because the comments are turning into a sanctuary for people who've been carrying this in silence. The second shift is learning to live inside the silence. Most people fill silence because silence feels dangerous. Silence feels like rejection. Silence feels like you're losing the room. So you fill it with explanations, with apologies, with nervous laughter, with one more attempt to be understood. But silence is where your power actually lives. Silence is the room where respect is built. When you can sit in silence without flinching, you become someone other people have to take seriously. Try this. The next time someone says something to you that lands wrong, don't respond right away. Just pause. Look at them. Let 3 seconds pass. Then 4. Then 5. Watch what happens. Watch them start to fidget. Watch them start to soften their tone. Watch them rephrase what they just said. The pause does the work for you. The pause says, I heard you, and I'm choosing my response. Not reacting, choosing. And there is no greater display of self-respect than choosing your response instead of reacting from your wound. The third shift is the deepest one. You have to stop needing to be right. You have to stop needing to win. You have to stop needing them to finally see it your way. Because every time you fight to be right, you're still trapped in their reality. You're still trying to bend their world to match yours. And that fight will drain you forever. The free people are the ones who can hear someone be wrong about them and not feel the need to correct it. They know who they are. They don't need the room to confirm it. Is this why you've been feeling exhausted lately? Because you've been fighting battles that were never yours to win? Subscribe and let me know in the comments. This conversation is changing lives. Let me paint you a picture that might stay with you. Imagine you're walking through a field. Behind you is a long line of people you've been carrying. Some are family, some are friends, some are partners, past and present. Some are people who hurt you years ago that you still carry in your head. You've been carrying them all this time, hoping that if you carry them long enough, they'll finally turn around and see how much you've done. They never will. They can't see you. Their eyes are closed. Now imagine you stop walking. You set them down, gently. Not violently, not with hatred, just gently, the way you would set down a bag that's gotten too heavy. And you keep walking, alone, lighter, quieter. The wind feels different on your skin. The sky looks different above you. You realize, maybe for the first time in your adult life, that you have been so busy carrying other people's perception of you that you forgot to feel the sun on your own face. You forgot what your own footsteps sound like. You forgot you had a life of your own to live. That moment, that exact moment when you set them down and keep walking, is the moment respect finds you. Not because you demanded it, not because you finally became enough, but because the people who actually deserve a place in your life can finally find you now that you're not buried under everyone who didn't. Your real life has been waiting for you to put down the weight. Your real people have been waiting for you to clear the space. Set them down. Keep walking. Have you been pretending everything is fine while quietly drowning under the weight of who you've been carrying? Subscribe and drop your experience below because you don't have to keep carrying it alone. Here's something nobody tells you about reclaiming your power. It's quiet. It's so quiet you might miss it. People expect transformation to look like fireworks. They expect a big moment, a dramatic exit, a final speech where you finally say everything you've been holding in. But that's not how real change happens. Real change happens in the small moments nobody sees. The moment you don't text back. The moment you don't show up to the dinner you didn't want to go to. The moment you say no without explaining why. The moment you choose your peace over their comfort and you don't post about it, you don't tell anyone, you just do it. These quiet moments are stacking up inside you even when you can't feel them. Each one is rewriting your nervous system. Each one is teaching your body that you are safe to choose yourself. Each one is whispering to the deepest part of you, the part that's been waiting your whole life to hear it, that you are finally on your own team. After all these years of betraying yourself to keep the peace, you are coming home. And that homecoming doesn't need an audience. It just needs you. Jung talked about something he called individuation, the long process of becoming who you actually are, not who your parents wanted you to be, not who society shaped you into, not who your relationships needed you to be, who you actually are underneath all of that. He said most people never do this work because it's terrifying. It means losing the false self you've spent decades building. It means grieving the approval you were chasing. It means standing alone in the truth of yourself for the first time. But on the other side of that terror is the only freedom that ever lasts. Have you been losing yourself trying to be everyone else's version of you? Subscribe and tell me in the comments, because this is exactly what we're going to keep unpacking together. You have to understand something important here. The people who taught you that you had to earn love were never trying to hurt you in most cases. They were just passing down what was passed down to them. Their parents made them earn it, so they made you earn it. And if you don't break the cycle, you'll pass it down too, without meaning to people who love you and trust you. That's why this work matters, not just for you, for everyone who will ever walk into your life and need to be loved without conditions. When you stop asking for respect, you don't just heal yourself. You change the temperature of every room you walk into. You give other people permission to stop performing too. You become a soft place for the people who have been carrying their own invisible weight. You become the kind of presence that lets others exhale. And that is one of the most sacred things a human being can become in this world. A safe place, a still place, a free place. Not because you fought to be free, but because you finally stopped fighting altogether. This is what real power looks like. Not the loud kind, not the kind that shouts and demands and threatens. The quiet kind. The kind that walks into a room and doesn't need to announce itself. The kind that lets the silence do the speaking. The kind that doesn't react when someone tries to provoke it, because there's nothing inside to provoke anymore. That fire that used to flare up every time someone disrespected you, that fire is still there. But it's not desperate anymore. It's sovereign. It only moves when it chooses to. And that is the most untouchable thing a human being can ever become. Does this sound like the version of you that's been trying to break through for years? Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so we can keep walking this road together. Let me give you something to hold on to for the rest of your life. You will never get respect by asking for it. You will only get it by being someone who doesn't need it. That sounds like a paradox. It is. But every important truth about being human is wrapped in a paradox. The more you chase love, the more it runs. The more you cling to people, the faster they leave. The more you try to control your life, the more chaotic it becomes. And the more you demand respect, the less you receive. The only way out of these traps is to stop playing them entirely. So stop.
Stop asking. Stop explaining. Stop proving. Stop performing.
Stop waiting for the moment when they'll finally see you. They won't. Not until you see yourself first. And once you see yourself fully, completely, without flinching, you won't need them to anymore. You'll be free. Not the fake kind of free people post about online. The real kind. The kind that lives in your bones. The kind that nobody can take from you because you finally know it was never theirs to take in the first place. The most powerful people in this world are not the ones with the loudest voices. They are the ones who have made peace with being misunderstood. They are the ones who can sit at a table and not need to win it. They are the ones who can love someone and still walk away from them if love isn't enough to make it healthy. They are the ones who know that being respected is not the goal of life. Being free is. And they are willing to let go of every relationship, every dynamic, every chain that asks them to trade their freedom for a seat at a table that was never honoring them anyway. Has this changed something inside you that you can already feel shifting? Subscribe now and drop one word in the comments that describes how you're feeling right now. Because we're a community now. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken beyond repair. You have just been asleep in a story that was never yours to live. And today, right now, in this moment, you are waking up. The fact that you've made it this far in this video means something in you is already turning. Something in you already knows it's time. Trust that knowing. It has been trying to reach you for years. It has been whispering through every exhausting interaction, every moment of disrespect, every tear you cried in silence. It has been saying, "My love, you were made for more than this. Come home." And coming home doesn't mean leaving your life. It doesn't mean burning everything down. It just means moving differently inside it. Moving like someone who knows their worth without needing it confirmed. Moving like someone who is allowed to take up space without apologizing. Moving like someone who has finally given themselves permission to stop earning what was always free. That's it. That's the whole shift. It happens internally first, and then watch how fast the external world rearranges itself to match. You're going to lose some people. Let them go. You're going to be called names. Let them call you. You're going to be misunderstood by people who are never going to understand you anyway. Let them be confused. None of it can touch you anymore, because the only person you ever needed to be respected by was the one looking back at you in the mirror. In the moment that person nods at you with quiet pride, the whole world bends. Not because the world changed, because you did. The moment you stop asking for respect is the moment you remember it was always yours, sitting quietly inside you, waiting for you to come back home and claim it. You are not weak for having waited this long. You are not foolish for having tried so hard. You are not broken for having loved people who couldn't love you back. You are human. You are sacred. You are still here. And the rest of your life is about to look nothing like the years that brought you to this moment. If this video made you feel something, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more videos that actually understand you.